Hello, I'm Natasha Gutierrez. Welcome to Talk Thursday. On February 6, two of the Philippines' top universities, Ateneo de Manila University and the University of the Philippines, announced a shift in their academic calendars, moving the opening of classes from June to August. The change will take effect in 2014 for UP and for Ateneo 2015. But not all are pleased. Some teachers say becoming globally competitive and shifting the calendar are two different things. Today we speak with two professors from UP Diliman who oppose the shift. Joining us is Ramon Guillermo, a professor from the College of Arts and Letters, and Dr. Victor Paz, a professor from the Archaeology Studies program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Okay, so I mentioned that both of you are opposed. Why don't we start by explaining why?
Who do you start? You?
Go ahead.
When we heard about this calendar shift, we were looking for reasons and behind it. So when it was proposed, we actually read the proposal, which was a kind of 4-page document, and then we said that there weren't enough reasons to change the UP calendar, and I think that if you really looked at it, then it would have more negative effects rather than positive effects in terms of actually developing the university as a better university with better facilities and better research capacities.
Okay.
So we thought that there was too little reason to move the calendar at all.
You mentioned negative effects. Any specifics?
Well, I segue because in my case, I started from a very selfish academic standpoint. We do most of our research in summer. We excavate, and it's almost impossible to excavate during the rainy seasons. And because of that, the summer months is prime really for generating new information and data. And we have been very successful in doing that. If we change the calendar and make the first semester run across the driest months of the year, the effect of that will be we are going to be forced to choose whether we are going to serve the university by teaching or purely serve it by doing research.
Okay.
And so from that point, like Bowman, we studied the document and could not find any strong arguments in favor of the calendar change. It's lynched mainly on the argument that we have to synchronize it with the rest of the world, and we have to do it in a hurry because of the ASEAN integration.
In 2015.
And then it's not in the ASEAN program at all. And the original document, in fact, stipulated that, using the words, although it is not in the ASEAN document, however, eventually it's inevitable that we need to change the calendar. And then the first part is there's no such thing as a singular calendar for the world. So those two premises are the primary ones, and all the other premises are secondary, such as the semester will be the break in the semester because of Christmas. The second semester is not good. The rains leads to a lot of postponements of classes, etc.
So weather also is a big concern for both of you.
It is one of the concerns.
Okay.
But I have to put it into context also because we first discussed the calendar shift in the University Council of UP Diliman in December 2 last year.
Okay.
The University Council is the highest academic policy-making body of the university. It makes all the decisions related to the academic side of the university. And I think arguably the academic calendar is an academic matter. And when we discussed the 4-page proposal in this UC meeting, it was unclear to us what reasons were compelling to shift the calendar. So when we voted, the vote was negative. So the University Council of UP Diliman voted against changing the calendar in 2014. And then we called for a forum so that we could gather all the information, mobilize our best experts to study the various aspects of calendar shift, from psychological, historical, economic, climatic conditions, etc. And then all of these specialists spoke in a February 10 forum in UP Diliman. It was attended not just by UP Diliman academics, also by the whole community, and also
Right, we
people
remember this.
from the CHED, from DepEd, and this was the first academic forum to be held on changing the on changing an academic calendar, and there were
Okay.
so many facts and so many so much information that we still have to process up to now. But even after that forum, I think the verdict was still negative.
And this was February 10 after the rest of UP had already decided in February
Correct,
6, correct?
yes.
Okay. How about the reasons that they've given, facilitating academic exchange, mobility for students and faculty, joint research, all of these? None of these are compelling to either of you?
The assumption there is that that's not happening, and then that if we change the calendar, that we will
will
have
happen.
a exponential increase. Well, there's no way of demonstrating that, or they haven't demonstrated that there will be an increase
Okay.
if we do this, and they assume that there's none, and we have a vibrant exchange program. The
As it
scale
is.
is small, but then show me a university where the scale is a top university where the scale is in proportion wise is half or even more than, let's say, it's servicing the local population.
So you're happy with the way the exchanges are now?
No, not really. I don't want to say we're happy.
It's not perfect,
It's
right?
not perfect, but
We don't think the solution is an academic calendar shift.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not the solution at all.
Okay. Well, let's put you guys in the opposite position. Tell me what you think their strongest argument is. What would you push for if you were a proponent of the shift?
If I were a proponent of the shift, the strongest argument would be the weather, in terms of synchronizing the second semester in a way that it will not be halved, and then at the same time that we start our first semester really clear out of the rainiest months
Okay.
of the year.
Which is August, correct?
Yeah.
There are individual reasons, individual motivations for this, and I think some individual reasons might be most important for some people in the university. But for me, for example, I would look at the greater good of the institution. For example, one compelling individual reason is that if we change the calendar, then we can actually go to almost all conferences that we like during the conference season abroad.
Okay.
And for some, this would be an individual, a compelling reason on an individual basis to change the calendar. But there are so many other implications for changing the calendar that that I think that this doesn't outweigh all other factors, and it's just a single factor which may benefit some individuals, but not the university or the institution as a whole.
Okay. From my conversation with you so far, it seems that you are opposed to the shift not just because of the timing in terms of having it being pushed so soon, but just ever. You don't think that shifting the calendar is a good idea ever. Is this a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, clearly there is shifting the calendar will result to concrete disadvantages, but no one has really pointed out any clear advantages
Okay.
in shifting the calendar.
For me, there are different levels to this question. There are, let's say, globally competitive universities in countries which have different calendars, which are not synchronized at all with the world. You have Australia, you have Korea, South Korea, you have Japan, and these three countries, the University of the Philippines has the major academic partners of UP constitute 43%. These nations constitute 43% of all these academic partners,
Okay.
with different calendars. So the reasons behind why they haven't changed the calendar at all now are various. Maybe in Australia it's the weather, maybe in Japan it's the culture and the cycles of the seasons and traditions. But I think that the main thing is for me, it's consultation. It's really going through a process of understanding,
Okay.
discussing, and evaluating this kind of change, which is massive, which will affect a lot of things in the university. And I don't think we have gone through a proper procedure, through a proper process of consultation and hammering out of what we really need.
Okay, so unlike Dr. Paz, maybe you're a little more open to the possibility in the future, maybe with more consultation?
Well, with consultation, we have to weigh all the facts
Right,
now.
okay.
And I think today, in the short term, I think it's a bad idea.
Okay. Question in everyone's mind: how will this affect UP Diliman? If the rest of UP goes on with the shift, what is the impact for the Diliman campus?
Well, it will be unfortunate, for example, students from other UP units who want to cross-enroll. They won't be able to do that. In the pilot year that the majority of the campuses are implementing, year that this change is going to take place.
Okay.
But beyond that, if UP Diliman sticks to its guns and does not change its calendar, I don't see any major problem.
Okay. Do you agree?
Well, it is going to be difficult. So UP Diliman is trying to use the power of argument and reason to ask the administration also to go through a process of reassessment and reevaluation
Okay.
of the previous decision to change the calendars for the different. Maybe there is a less damaging way to do it. You could test it first. You could do some other smaller experiments.
With
but not
one
with
campus.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, that's a problem. But
Yeah.
it will affect thousands of students.
Yes.
And for what? For something that, and this is my thinking, it was when they started this idea of changing the calendar, I think what the administration thought, this was a very benign issue. So something that is, it's not problematic. So it can be done. It's a done deal. In fact, that's what they kept on saying at the beginning. So it doesn't need real consultation and all that. And then, and so they chose something that is the easiest thing to do to change the calendar. They thought, compared to, let's say, improving all the facilities, increasing the salaries of professors and all this, and all the more substantial reforms that one has to do to really improve the capability of a university to be international,
Okay.
or to attract at least an international clientele. And but however, because of that kind of thinking, I suppose, they really didn't think it through. And then rather than, okay, let's stop and study this further, it is instead being pushed through, right? With gusto. And some of us think that there's a reason behind it, right, Bauman? We could not fathom
Okay.
why, even though you show them the documents, even though that it's not there, even though people are saying there's no hurry, ASEAN integration
Okay.
is not really next year, etc. Some people are adamant in pushing it. And the reason that we think is behind this is what? The idea that there's a marketability of courses.
Maybe there's a simplistic notion of internationalization, the simple fact of selling some kind of product internationally,
Okay.
specifically within the ASEAN region. So I got some preliminary documents from the other constituent units of the university, and I heard that in UPLB, for example, there's an ongoing marketability assessment for courses and subjects. When we enter this kind of competition, by changing our calendar, we are sort of declaring that we are entering a competition with the other nations in ASEAN for foreign students. So now we have to evaluate our courses for marketability so that we can sell them on the ASEAN University Network. And the ASEAN University Network, if you look at the website, it has quality standards. You have to meet certain quality standards in order to be able to participate
Correct.
in this network. And a more damning document which I got from UP Manila, from the office of the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs is that they now have a kind of first cut list for courses and subjects. Now, what is the first cut list? Because you have so few resources in UP, so few resources. The facilities are so horrible, and research opportunities still so few. You're going to have to prioritize, they say, streamline, and shift priorities. So you're going to have to cut some programs so that you can shift the money to these more, let's say, marketable programs.
Okay.
Programs that you can improve in quality so that you can reach the quality standards, and then you cut these programs, and they have a kind of criteria. For example, if you have less than 20 new students per year, then that's cut. No, that's you're a candidate for being cut. If you have less than 10 MA or MS students per year, that's a candidate for being cut.
Okay.
If you have few graduates per year, that's going to be cut also. And then they're talking about merging underperforming courses and subjects. So what's happening now is that in order to compete, given the limited resources and the limited capacity that the UP has, you're now going to cut programs which are actually, I think, important programs. Primarily, I think, in the social sciences and humanities, there will be great impact.
So you believe this is the main reason why the administration is pushing for the shift so soon? It's marketability.
I think it has something to do with developing our relationship in the ASEAN University Network.
Okay.
We already have, I think maybe there are commitments to this network as we speak.
So is marketing courses abroad part of the UP mandate as a public institution?
In the charter, it is. There's a need to internationalize. It's true, it's there.
Okay.
But let's not forget that for the rest of the charter, it really addresses the needs of the Filipino population, Filipino nation. And so that's you might think there's a contradiction there. Of course, there should not be a contradiction. But if our thinking is correct, then what will happen? It will be so lopsided for a minority concern of the university, and for a small percentage of the constituency of what the constituency should be of the university, that really it can be very scandalous, you know. And this is just something, maybe we are wrong, but why so much in a hurry? Why are they so keen? Even if you show them all the data, the arguments are much stronger against than supporting it, but they didn't change. The next document proposal, which the Board of Regents used to decide whether to allow the other units to change their calendar, is still a 4 to 5 page document. And again, it does not have the information, the data that will substantiate their position of internationalization. Not a single graph, not a single number crunching, not a single source accumulation of best practices, nothing at all.
Do you even think that with the resources of UP, which you said is very low, you know, it's the only public institution at Ateneo UST, obviously they're private institutions, they're pushing for, you know, shifts that are relatively soon. Do you think UP will even be able to implement this so soon in the first place?
That's a good question. For example, if we have the change of the calendar at the hottest months of the year, then the assumption there in the forum, oh no, of course we're going to do this all at the same time. You know, how we don't even have that data. How many classrooms are not air conditioned?
Okay.
So how many air conditioning units are you going to buy? But more importantly, never mind the actual costs in terms of millions of pesos of added costs. What is is that the direction we want in terms of carbon footprint? And the ASEAN integration document is more is clear when it comes to that point, you know, of nation states being
energy efficient,
etc. And then this is what we do.
Well, I guess this is why the issue is so complex. There are many contradictory ideas. I mean, within the UP mandate, for instance, and now with the ASEAN goals. Okay, very interesting. Can you tell us what you think, because you said that the shift in the academic calendar to you is a way to improve the quality of education when there's so many other problems that need to be solved. You said, a lack of resources was mentioned, better research. Tell me what you think the outstanding problems are that should be addressed first and could be better addressed not with a school calendar shift.
Well, for me, a major problem of the university is its admissions policy, because now it's really a school for middle class and upper middle class children and students. So we actually need to adjust the university. We have to work towards a solution so that the university does not become needlessly an elite or elitist institution. It must be an educational institution which is accessible for the great majority of the Filipino population.
Okay.
And we have to adjust our policies of admissions in order to do this. So the main problem, I think, is this, actually democratizing UP admissions. And on the other hand, on the side of the faculty, on the side of the employees, we have to improve our salaries, our welfare benefits, and we have to improve the facilities. So there are a lot of things which we can still do now. And instead of adjusting, for example, worrying so much about having how few foreign students we have, I think the main problem is still how many students coming from impoverished and poor backgrounds do we have now? This is the main problem we have to resolve in the immediate future.
Parallel to that, however, concentrating on internationalization. You want internationalization? Okay. You want foreign faculty to join the UP faculty? Well, first thing you can do, really, if you're the administration, find a way to make them permanent. Because in the Constitution, and we cannot, because of the Constitution provision, that you cannot have a non-Filipino as a civil servant, and a UP faculty is a civil servant. Therefore, we cannot have a tenured foreign faculty member. And that could easily be done if, well, not easily, but that can be done if the university is really serious. And I'm speaking from experience. We are a faculty of 7, and 3 of our colleagues, full-time colleagues, are foreigners. An Irish woman, a German, and a Frenchman.
Okay.
And you know why we attracted them? Not because of the calendar, but because we developed our reputation as a cutting-edge institution when it comes to basic archaeological research in island Southeast Asia.
Okay.
And then we have lots of publication, and that attracted them.
Do you agree, however, that maybe this academic shift could work for certain universities, private institutions perhaps, Ateneo, UST, but maybe specifically not University of the Philippines?
Yes, their mandate is different. They could actually implement it in private institutions. But as we said earlier, that the UP Charter, the main mandate of the UP is actually to serve the Filipino people. It is important to internationalize, but the basis of this must be a strong national base, must be the accessibility of the university to the general population of the Philippines. So we still have to work on the main mandate of the University of the Philippines, and then slowly develop our capacity for deepening international linkages and more international students. That's not a bad thing.
It's for private universities.
Okay.
It makes more sense to go for the marketability concern or target, and I think if they have to change the calendar to do that, to help them do that, then why not?
Okay.
However, one thing that, again, just speaking from my small corner of the world, of the academic world, we are having a hard time convincing the top private universities to start an archaeology program.
Okay.
For obvious reasons. It's not marketable. There won't be enough students.
Very interesting.
And so why did UP manage to do that? Because we are state, and the state university can have the market or profit concern as a secondary concern.
Got it.
Rather than a primary concern.
Okay.
And so where does innovation therefore come in terms or coverage of new research ground? So that's where UP has an advantage in many ways.
Okay, and that's something we don't want to lose, clearly.
Yes.
Well, if we are right in in what we think might, the conspiracy behind all of this,
Right.
then we'll be in the chopping block.
Okay. And that's
Even-
obviously another personal concern.
Well, and it's so unfortunate because we are very productive. We have tons of research, tons of publication, high impact journals, and we have very good graduate students. But we won't have the numbers, and therefore we're not that profitable.
Interesting. Today's the canvassing of votes from the faculty referendum. What is your fearless forecast on the results? What do we think? Clearly, both of you are coming from courses that could be on the chopping block. We understand your positions. Give us an honest assessment. What do you think will happen?
Well, my honest assessment, we might lose that referendum. For the simple reason, a lot of our colleagues, are going to decide or decided or are convinced by others that, the personal gains are better.
We insisted initially that we don't have a referendum, that we bring the issue back to the University Council. Because after the February 10 forum, we already had enough information, I think, to process the question more carefully and more scientifically. But we didn't get that wish to have a University Council meeting again. So instead of having a University Council meeting, reevaluate our position based on the results of the forum. What we have now is a referendum in which probably most of the people who are voting did not actively participate in the debates on this, or even in the forum. So there's a kind of quality that's lacking in the decision-making process. I think it's important for all of us to be involved in this discussion so that we can clarify matters to ourselves. But when there is no discussion and then people are just made to answer yes or no, then actually wrong things can be voted can be agreed upon.
It's unfortunate that it's really a skewed view of democracy that, that's only a small percentage of the number of members of the council who voted.
Okay.
But you follow that argument, then no democratic institution or nation state will exist, because the actual free voters are always a minority, the ones who express their desire to participate. And so by creating a referendum, your assumption there is that you're getting a wider, but you're actually just forcing people to say yes or no on an issue that
on record.
they haven't actually reflected on.
Okay, let's say, just to wrap up, let's say after the pilot year, you see there are benefits, there are advantages. Would you then be more open to changing your opinions?
Of course, but we doubt it.
Okay.
But let me just say, and I think I can talk really, represent also Bowman here. The reason why we are here talking to you as a opposing view to this initiative is because we are academics. And we would like to believe that we want to study positions or situations thoroughly.
Okay.
And then weigh the pros and cons. And that's what we did. And it has just consistently showed us that this proposal is really, it's really a bad proposal.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with Vic on that. I really doubt it if after 1 year anything positive will come out of this exercise.
Okay. I think that's a great way to end. That's a tone of finality right there, which has been the theme throughout this whole conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We've been speaking with UP professors Ramon Guillermo and Victor Paz about the issues surrounding the shift in the Premier State University's academic calendar. I'm Natasha Gutierrez. Thank you for joining us.